This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, we'll start now. Last class, what are we discussing about? మీరు ముందుకు రండి. చివరి ఇద్దరే ముందుకు రండి.
Hi Asha. Hello.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Do you have any
Asha,
question?
No. Can you start the server 8.7?
I've started server.
Start server. Okay. Just want to remind that on that.
Yeah. Every day I'm forgetting that, right? Thank you. Maybe it is set to start, I think. Okay.
Hello Harsha, I'm having a doubt. Like
Yes.
we were talking about a work object, right? So when yesterday when I tried to create one case, it came, the first case was C1, and then after that it is coming like C like 1001, 1002. It is not taking that sequential numeric number.
What
It
is
is not
1001?
yeah, the work object ID. It is not taking as
Okay,
C2.
today sequence will be missing out. Like 1, 2, 3, it will start 1001, 1002. Today you create 2001. Tomorrow if I create 3001, like this, that is a default design that is available. We can change it. That's not a big deal.
Oh, okay.
So yesterday's one and today's one, you will see now. I'll just execute the flow. This is the flow, right?
Oh. Hmm.
So let me ask you one question. See, I have a flow created. Chapan.
Okay.
Audible now? Yeah, I have created a flow. Okay. I tested everything. Okay, I did tested everything. The flow is running without any issues. No issues, nothing. Yeah, I started, I think. Yeah, started. The flow is getting executed. There are no issues. I found everything fine. And we moved it to QA, QA to UAT, and UAT after we moved it to production. But when it is going more to production, I see that it is not being executable. I was not able to execute the flow in production. What is the reason I was not able to execute in production? There is a
draft mode.
In interviews, they will ask you questions like this. They will never ask you a question like what is draft flow. But the question is all about draft flow only. But they did not ask you like what is draft flow or something. They asked in a reverse way. Like they asked it like a scenario. Every scenario that is going to be asked from the subject only. That is from what we are going to learn definitely. Okay. And this is how you have to get the idea about what you have already learned. If you are getting these ideas, like the moment this question is being asked, if draft flow is striking in your mind, which means that you are really gaining the subject knowledge. Otherwise, you are just blindly following something like our academics. Okay, all-in-one academics. Okay, so understanding and gaining subject knowledge is very much essential for anyone to become successful. Okay, so this is the work object. Today if I create, I'm getting 3001. See, so whenever we are going to select the option of creates a new work object, it makes the workflow executable, as well as once you execute, a work object gets created. Work object travels through the flow from start shape to fill end shape on its way to get resolved by invoking all the flow shapes in between. Work object can be uniquely identified by an ID called work object ID. Work object ID is going to have two parts: work object ID prefix and a sequential numeric number. Work objects are going to get stored into backend table. It is called as work table, and work object ID value gets stored into a column PYID. Work object data gets stored into a column PZPV stream in binary large objects format. Right? Anything else we discussed after this? That's it. Okay. And now, so we are going
Yeah,
to see
you asked 2 questions yesterday.
what are the questions? What was the question being asked? How does the
Why
system
blob
know
is
whether it is a
same
production
thing in
environment
mobile
or whether it is development environment? Well, simply, how does the system knows that?
and blob question.
Yeah, this question first you answer. The question is, మేబీ మీరు ఈ రోజు ఎవరితో కనుక్కొని రాబోతే నేను చెప్పేస్తాను అనుకోద్దు, ఇంకో 10 రోజుల వరకు నేనేం చెప్పను ఆన్సర్. ఓకే, ఐ విల్ నాట్ టెల్ యూ ఆన్సర్ till next 10 days or maybe 20 days. You have to research and find out and tell me. Okay, yeah, what is that? How does the PRPC knows when you install it on system 1, system 2, system 3, this is development, this is production? How does the system knows? Online resources.
Hi Harsha.
Yes, go ahead quickly, make it
Yeah,
fast.
we have admin studio wherever we can see that the environment
No.
that is.
See, it is a development written here, not based on this. For this, there should be a reason behind.
So, Harsha, we have
Hello?
a sysadmin and
Hello?
dev studio where we can define the Pega default define these values from development
Where it
to
defines the values? Where does it defines?
in sysadmin dev studio.
Sysadmin, where should I go? I went to sysadmin. Okay, yes, female resource, proceed.
Yeah, so I think inside
When
sysadmin there is
initializing, Pega provides
rule.
the production level. It provides the numbers.
Perfect. Thank you. See,
I think there is a rule
Yes.
when
called
you
system.
install Pega, yes, thank you, I got the answer. When you install Pega on server 1, server 2, server 3, server 4, server 5, first what you will be doing is, after installation is done in enterprise application, not you, tech leads, they will open a rule called system rule. There will be system rule. In this rule, they will choose the option. Look at here, just wait. What is the option value by default? 2 is development.
Development.
Like this is for development server. QA server, they will choose what? 3.
3.
UAT or staging, whatever it can be. 4. Live environment.
4.
What about one sandbox? Sandbox means, suppose you are working for Bank of America. Okay, there are different teams, different applications. 4 applications are there, 4 different teams are there. In real application, whatever that you are accessing, you should not practice. See, sometimes you may need to practice something and then implement it, correct? So you cannot practice it to enhance your knowledge. For that, they will install something on different server. That server will be accessible to everyone. That is called as sandbox. Sandbox is just a learning server, learning purpose. Okay. Yeah, the research and all using Pega you will be doing on sandbox server. That you can leave. So based on the value in the system rule, process commander knows about what is that? The server is development server or live. This flow, when I move it to live server, the value at the live server will be 5. If the value of the production, if the value of the system rule is 5, production level is 5, then draft flows will be non-executable. Okay, makes sense? So based on this, it is going to decide. Next, what is the second question?
Harsha, there is a question. There are 2 entries here, Pega, PRPC. So we need to change in both.
They just made changes. See, January 2nd, January 6th, 2022. Initially, this was created in Jan 2022. They have updated some modifications they have done to the rule. So you need to bother about always latest one.
Okay.
Chapan, what was the other question? Why Pega is coming up with blob apart from security and compression of storage? What else you can say? What is the reason?
Because it
Database?
contains lots of memory.
Pega stores the data in the form of denormalized format.
Normalization concept is different.
So what
The
I found,
main concept is scalability. In order to provide scalability,
What is that scalability means?
to
So what I found is
to add,
you
No, hold on. Female resource.
to
Proceed.
expand.
Female.
Yeah.
What is
To
female?
expand data model.
What is that expansion? Tell an example.
Yeah, I think we can store unlimited data.
Yeah.
We can store unlimited data.
Unlimited.
What does it mean?
Yes.
Elaborate it.
I think in traditional database, what used to happen is whenever we create one variable, then correspondingly we have to create one database column. But in case of blob, we
Perfect.
can create n number of properties.
Perfect. So this is the reason. See, suppose you leave about blob, you have normal columns. Suppose you are working on Java or anywhere. Suppose you have in a customer form, you have first name, last name, age, gender, state, city, zip code. Let's say 7 properties are there in the form. You go to backend table, 7 columns should be there. 7 columns are there, okay. You are storing the data. Business is asking you phone number also we want to capture. What you should do? You create one phone number property. You will add in customer form. Correct? The user will enter phone number and submit. This phone number will not get stored into table. Only previous 7 properties will store. What about this phone number? If it has to be stored, you need to make 2 changes. One is in the table you need to add one more column called phone number. That is one change. Second change is you might be preparing query by yourself, right? In other programming. That query also you need to pass one more additional parameter called phone number. Tomorrow again, they are asking you to collect email address. You will create email address property and add it in the UI. Then what about database? Table you need to modify to add one more column. What is the column name? Email address. And the query you are preparing, right? ADO.NET or anything. It may be JDBC queries or ADO.NET if you are using that respective queries. The program you are defining should have to be modified to add one more column. Make sense? So you need 2 modifications every time when you add properties or when you remove properties. Where you need to make the changes? Database as well as in the program while preparing the query and all. Now, having blob, the advantage is, suppose today we have the customer details form, right? If I add 5 more properties into that particular form, there is no need to change anything in the database because everything will get stored inside blob. All the properties will get stored inside the blob. You extend the number of properties, those also automatically get stored. Queries will be automatically generated with additional properties. You delete some of the properties, only remaining will get stored. The other ones will be ignored. So that is the advantage of blob is every time when you are going to make changes by adding number of properties or removing number of properties, you don't need to modify table. You don't need to modify business logic. Understand? This is the reason why Pega comes up with blob. Suppose if there is no blob, only normal columns are there for this particular transaction data. Every time when you create a property, you need to do 2 other changes. At least one change you have to do. That is, database column has to be added. You may think like it is very simple to add one column, but here while we are practicing, it is very simple. But in enterprise application development, there will be a lot of process of deployment. They don't do it so simply. Okay, there will be a separate team. You need to give them query. They have to make it as a SQL file. They have to deploy it during the off business hours. There will be a certain deployment process that has to be taken care. Understand everyone clear? This is the answer for both of these queries that you should research by yourself. When you research and get the answers, you will gain best knowledge than this. Okay, everyone clear? So let's go ahead and proceed forward to look at understanding further about work object. Okay, work object is getting stored into which table? Work table. I'll go to DB environment. See here, there is a work table. The name of the work table is similar to framework class group. Also, there is one more work table. The other work table name is also similar to implementation class. You see here the second one. This work class. So we have 2 work classes, right? Implementation work class, framework work class. Implementation work class name is framework work class related objects have been stored into a table. Name is similar to framework. Similarly, implementation class matching name, there is a table available. Let's go to this table. Are there any records available in this table? No records. Look at here. This is there in the theory document which I have shared yesterday. What I am going to do now, see, I am going to create one flow in my implementation class. Implementation class also, I am going to create a flow. Like yesterday I created in framework work class, right? Day before yesterday. Now implementation work class. Where did I create? Implementation or framework? Framework only. Now I am creating an implementation. This is begin LIC insurance. Separately I am giving name, different name. LIC insurance. In this flow, I wanted to call the flow action which is there in framework work class. Flow action is in framework work class. Flow is in implementation work class. Is it possible that I can call the flow action of framework into implementation? Is it possible? Yes or no? It is possible. So I'll double click and see whether it is available or not. See here, it is there. When I click on more, so I'm just calling because I don't want to create again and again the same. Because if I create in parent class, I can access anywhere wherever I want. Creates a new work object. And what is this one? I did not tell you about this, right? Why I am changing this? I will explain you. I did not tell you about this. Did I tell you about this? I will tell you. Okay. So I am running this flow now. I am running the flow which is in my implementation class. The object created is 3002. And now I will open the flow which is there in framework work class. I will run the flow in framework work class. Both are making transactions. This is what 3003. Let's go to backend. Now you see implementation work class, view data first 100 rows. There is a table. In this there are two records. I ran the same or what? Second time also. 3003, 3002. Did I run it twice or okay? Today also one object I created. Maybe some practice. One more I created 3004. Look at here. Now let me requery this. Here you go. There is a table. The name of the table is matching with implementation class group. And here the objects have got stored. Let us see what are those objects. 3002, 3004. You are aware of this? These two have been created by executing the flow which is there in implementation class group. These two are being created by executing the flow. Those are there in implementation class group. And go to framework class group table. There is 3003, 3001 also at the very beginning. Today 3003 has been created by executing the flow of framework class group. See, one more time I will do. The flow which is in framework class group I am running. It is creating an object of 3005. Let's go to table. 3005 is there in this table. 3005 is not getting stored into other table. Now you go to other table. Do you have 3005 here? No, 3005 is not there. Only 3002 and 4 are there. Okay. I am going to run the flow which is in implementation class group. This is an implementation class group. I am going to run this now. Sorry. I am going to run this now. Look at here. 3006. Where is 3006? 3006 is stored into here in this. The one which has been stored now is 3006 on. Okay. So now the question is, when I am creating work objects in this particular context, whatever that I am just showing you, the objects are getting stored into either table 1 or table 2. How does process command knows into which table the objects have to be stored? Everyone clear about the question? Now process command is storing the objects that I am creating by executing the flows into either table 1 or table 2. Where is the knowledge for Pega? How it is storing into the respective table? as a developer, everyone should have clear idea about this. Make sense? Clear, everyone? So that is the question. So we have to get the answer for that question now. Okay, let's go ahead and see this. See, what are the table names? Table names can be anything. By default, Pega has automatically created these tables at the time of creating application, matching with the names of framework class group name and implementation class group name, starting with PC underscore. Whether it matches or not, no matter. That is not a big deal. Naming convention, it's not a big deal. Okay, that's not considerable at all. Here you go now. This is implementation class group. Let me close this. How would I go to class definition? If I want to see the class definition, what is the navigation? Right click on the class and choose definition. So framework class group I am opening. I am opening framework class group definition. Scroll down. What do you see? Test connection to the database table. That is the button you are seeing. I am going to click on that test connection to the database table. I clicked on it. Now you see, this is what you are getting. I will copy this sentence into Notepad. I'm sorry. Why they come up with this? Control plus I. Where is plus? This is what I am seeing. I will remove this part. This is not required. I'll remove this dot, this one also. Okay. This is a sentence statement. And now here you go. I'm going to do what? I'll go to implementation class group definition. Implementation class group definition. And here scroll down. Test connection is there. Here also I'm clicking on test connection and I'm copying this statement module. Okay, this is the statement. Let's read this. Class, this is framework class group, right? Class framework class group is mapped to the table. Table name can be anything. You can say, you can imagine like table 1. These two are same names or different names? These two are different names. Okay, particular framework class group is mapped to table 1 and implementation class group is mapped to table 2. Let me open a diagram. See here. Don't bother about the text. This is implementation class group. This is framework class group. Below one. Above one is implementation class group. Below one is framework class group. Above one is table 1. Below one is table 2. Okay. Now within the implementation class group, when I execute the flow will run and flow will create a work object, right? When I execute the flow within implementation class group, it is creating one object, correct? Work object. Similarly, when I execute the flow within the framework application context, it is also creating one work object. Then what do you say now? Work object has been created in the context of implementation class group. Similarly, work object has been created in the context of framework class group. If you run the flow in the within implementation class group flow, if you run, object created will have a context, that is implementation class group context. If you are going to run the flow which is in framework class group, object created is in which context? Framework class group context. Everyone clear? I created one work object by executing the flow of implementation class group. This object is storing into table 1. Object is storing into table 1. What is the reason? See, I shown you a statement, right? Class is mapped to table. There is a link between class and table. There is a link connection between class and table has been made. We did not do it by ourselves. When you create a new application, PRPC has created class group, I mean like work class, and one table. It has linked both of this. Similarly, one framework class group and one table, and it has connected both of this. See, if I create any work objects by executing the flow of implementation class group, the objects get stored into a table. The table which is been mapped, mapping or linking, anything you can say, which is been mapped to the respective class group. Everyone clear? Online resources, everyone clear? So how does process command knows the exact table into which these objects have to be stored? That is based on the class group, the respective class group in which the flow is executed. The object created will get stored into the table for which that particular class group is mapped. If I run a flow in the implementation class group, work object gets created, that gets stored into a table which is mapped to implementation class. And if I run a flow which is in framework class group, the work object that gets created is going to get stored into some table which is mapped to framework class group. Everyone clear? Online resources. Am I clear, audible now? Everyone?
Yes.
I am recording.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have muted everyone. You can unmute whenever I ask. And once you answer, you have to go back to mute again. So this is how process commander exactly identifies the table into which the work objects have to be stored. Make sense? Clear, everyone? Online resources also, everyone clear? Yeah. Next, furthermore. Yeah, furthermore, see, where is this relation defined? I'm telling this, but it is also displaying a message saying that this particular class is mapped to this table, this class is mapped to this table and all. Where is this relation? If you want to see the relation, I am going to take a document for this. How to see the class and table mapping. Mapping, you call it as mapping. Okay. Let's see the implementation FW class group mapping table. Okay, it is not just to see, I wanted to show you the exact rule. 594 June 16. Okay, so let's go ahead here. You know how to log into PRBC, right? How to go here and implementation class group. Right click on this. I wanted to see already something which is available, so I need to go to view. If I want to create something new, I have to go to create, view, sysadmin, database table. What is that? I'll write down. A database table role defines the relation between class and table. That is a rule. Okay, you go like this, you'll be getting one record like this. Click on the record. Let me open this record. Done. That's it. You can repeat the same for FW class group. Okay, this is FW class group. What is it? View, sysadmin, database table. Done. Clear, everyone? Now I'll show you. See, framework class group is mapped to some table, PC underscore LIC FW LIC insurance work. Similarly, implementation class group is mapped to PC underscore LIC table 1, table 2, simply speak. Okay, this is based on this factor. Process commander identifies to store the work objects into the respective table. Everyone clear? Now, for example, imagine in the backend I have a table by name table 3. I open this rule, right? I am removing this and I am typing table 3. And imagine I have saved it. If I create work objects in implementation class group by executing the flow of implementation class group, if I create work objects, where does these objects get stored going forward? Where does these objects get stored? See, whether you are saying right or wrong, that is not a big deal here. Whether you are opening your mouth or not, whether you are trying to pronounce this or not. Okay, that is what most important. Okay. తప్పు చెప్తే రైట్ ఏంటో తెలుసుకుంటారు, అంతే కదా. చెప్పకపోతే జీవితంలో ఏమీ తెలుసుకోరు, ఎప్పటికీ అలాగే ఉండిపోతారు. ఓకే, వాట్ ఈస్ దట్? ఇట్ విల్ గెట్ స్టోర్డ్ ఇంటూ విచ్ టేబుల్? Table 3. Suppose if I have given table 4, then
Table 4.
you can change it if you want to, but I am not changing it. I am not going to change this one, but if you change, obviously it will store into new table, whatever that is. The table should have same structure as this particular table. Okay, so this is where the relation between class and this one defined. Now let's discuss about class group, the definition of class group, definition of work object. Everyone clear? Everyone clear so far? So far we discussed about to understand how does process command knows the exact table where to store the work objects. Okay, everyone clear? Machipodara kasepudi kalla?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir, can we customize own
Tora
site?
machipode. Noiledu inta baru. Okay, next let's talk about this particular one. Definition of class group, definition of work object. So far I did not tell you. I told you everything in your own understandable way. Technically, I did not talk about it. See, I am going to draw a diagram to explain this. Imagine this is the context of implementation class group. This is the context of, this is implementation class group. In this context, I have a flow. I am executing the flow. Work object will be created, right? Let's say, for example, W-1. This object is created by executing the flow of implementation class group, correct? Then means this object is born, correct? This is born in which area? Implementation class group area. So this is called as instance of implementation class group. W-1 is said to be instance of implementation class. If you execute a flow which is in implementation class group, it is going to give birth to a work object, correct? That object is born in the context of implementation class group. So technically we call it as this particular work object is instance of implementation class group. Suppose I executed one more time, W-2 is created. W-2 is instance of which class group? Implementation class group. I executed one more time and I created W-3. W-3 is instance of
Implementation.
Everyone clear? Now next step. Here you go. I'm sorry, here I should have written implementation class. What about this one? Framework class. Here also I have one flow, flow 2. Here I am executing it and it is created W-5. This W-5 is created by executing the flow of framework class. Then W-5 is said to be instance of framework. Everyone clear? W-7
Instance of framework class group.
Instance of implementation
class.
Based on the flow that you have executed in some class group context, the objects, work objects that are going to get created are called as instances. What is the meaning of instance? Instance means
Belongs to.
in general
Object.
Object.
Extension of
Instance, separate process.
In your life object. Huh? What is in your real life? Instance means
extension of
A separate process.
At that particular time.
I am asking in your day-to-day life, what is instance?
Examples.
In your day-to-day life, what is an
Object.
Example.
A second minute.
At a particular time.
Particular time.
Time.
That is what occurrence we call. Something that happens is an instance for you, correct or not? I met with some instance. I was there in some instance and all, right? So instance is some occurrence. See, we are conducting Pega sessions here, right? Your class is 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Before this, 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock was there. They are in middle of training. So 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, this particular duration is one class group. Okay, so overall, let's say Pega is one class group. Pega class group is there. In that 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10. 3 classes I have conducted. How many instances have been done? 3 instances.
3.
Again, I'll do 3 instances. Day after tomorrow again, so one specific occurrence. 7 to 8 batch one occurrence, 8 to 9 batch one occurrence, 9 to 10 batch another occurrence. Sessions are happening. All the sessions are instances of mega class. DevOps is happening, right? DevOps training is going on. For them 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 11 to 12:30 evening, he will take 24/7. For him 6 to 7 instances are getting created every day. Instance is some occurrence. So the occurrence of class group is work object. That is what technically we call it as instance. So the definition of work object, what is the definition of work object? In general, it may be either implementation class group or framework class group. Either implementation class group or framework class group, both are said to be generically class group. So work object is instance of class group. This is the technical definition. Everyone should know about this one. It is not that you read work object inside of class group, you remember. Okay, it is not like your graduation. You should clearly understand the meaning. What is the meaning of this? This particular work object gets created in the context of some class group. If it is implementation, it is instance of implementation class group. If it is framework, it is instance of framework class group, like that. Clear? Now, from the same definition, I will derive the definition of class group. Now, let me ask you one question. For one class group, how many work objects can be there? N number, right? There is no limitation. You can have infinite number of transactions, lifetime. Okay. Now, class group is instance class of work objects, one or more. Make sense? These are the this is the definition of work object and class group technically. Everyone clear? What is the definition of work object? Work object is instance of class group. Class group is instance class of work objects. So this theory part will be there in the other one. If I want to see the instances of this class group, I need to click on this, single click on that. How many are there? 3 are there, 3 or 4. For this one, single click on it. You see here instances of LIC insurance case layer, instance of LIC auto insurance case layer, instances of implementation class group, instances of, without going to backend, you can see here itself. Okay, everyone clear? That for that you just single click on the name of the class here. Make sense? Everyone clear? Online resources. Now we have discussed about the work object gets stored into a table, correct? Which table? Work table. How it will identify the work table to store? Based on class and table mapping. Now that statement also I'm going to make now. See here. Work object is instance of class group. Where does it get stored? It gets stored into the table which is mapped to its instance class. It gets stored into a table which is mapped to its instance. Work object is instance of class group. Okay. Work object gets stored into a table. Which table? That is mapped to its instance class. Means class group. Work object is instance of class group. Work object gets stored into a table which is mapped to its class group. In general, we are calling that as instance class. Make sense? Work class group is instance class of work objects. So that is overall about that creates a new work object and related stuff. So far, still something is pending. Everyone clear so far? So what did we discuss so far from the beginning? From the beginning today, what did we discuss? The work relation between class group and work table. Work class and work table. You can say work class, you can say class group, you can say instance class of work object, anything is okay. Relation between work class and work table, how process command line. Then we discussed about technical definitions of work object and class. Make sense? Now work object is going to, when you create work object, you are going to make a transaction and you are going to enter some data here. Get here. In the recents, I can find out something which I have created some time back. And here you go. Some zip code. Okay, and submit. Data is being submitted. All the data will be held by work object, correct? Now the data that is being held by work object is getting stored into work table. This data is going to go through the system from PRPC2 till database. How it will go? What is this flow of this particular data? That I'm going to explain you now. So to explain this, I'm going to introduce a new tool called Clipboard. What is that? Clipboard. Have you ever heard the word clipboard? XML clipboard నేను చెప్పినప్పుడు కాదు, మీరు రోజు చూస్తూ ఉంటారు కదా. ఎక్కడ ఉంది clipboard? Where do you see clipboard? Mobile.
Down.
Phone లో
Downside. Downside. Heart symbol.
Bottom right side.
Just listen to me. Okay, I'm going to talk more in general way, like what you see in your regular day-to-day life. I come to technology.
In mobile we can see if you are copying
In your
something.
phone, in your cell phone.
Yeah.
When did you come across seeing that clipboard? At what action?
Suppose we
When you copy, suppose you have a file, you are copying, it will immediately say copy it to clipboard.
Copy to clipboard, yeah.
When you copy a message in WhatsApp, by select all, copy a message, okay, it says copy to clipboard, and then you go to target location and then paste. Where it will get pasted from? See, after you make a copy, data will be there in original place as well as clipboard. Two places data will be there. When you go and paste, from where it is going to paste? Is it going to paste from original place or clipboard? It is going to take from
Clipboard. From clipboard to it will
Yes,
paste.
correct. Can you see that clipboard? Is it possible? Have you ever seen the clipboard? Unless it says it is
Yes.
copied to clipboard. Have you ever opened and seen clipboard? Usually storage. I'm talking about storage place. If you display a message, that's a different. You don't. That is virtual. That is you cannot access. You cannot change it. You can change in the original location. Clipboard and all you cannot change it usually. But that is how it works in your phone or in your laptop. See, clipboard is a temporary storage place. Will that message will be forever? So after you copy, message is in clipboard. Is it going to be staying there forever? After you switch off your phone, it will be 1 hour, it will be gone. But original location, is it permanent or not? Original location data is permanent. Right? It will never change wherever you go. See, I am going to introduce a tool called Clipboard. So the data that you are going to submit through your transaction processing, the work object data will be first posted to clipboard. The moment you click on submit, data in UI will be posted to clipboard. Now on the clipboard, I will show you navigations in detail later, but let me show you high level. You have age, city, country, first name, gender, last name. It is alphabetically ordered clipboard. Some other properties are there, predefined, leave it. Scroll down completely. At the bottom, you have state and zip code as well. At the bottom, very bottom, you have it. Even if you cannot see there, no problem. It is there, state and zip code along with values are there. See, the data will be posted from PRPC environment to next level is clipboard. From clipboard, this data will be taken into tables. From clipboard, the data will be taken into tables. Let me show you a diagram. See this. See here, this is PRPC environment, and this is clipboard, and this is table. So once you create a work object and submit, on submit, data will be posted to clipboard, and then it will be going to table from clipboard. Everyone clear? Data from PRPC environment will go to clipboard. From clipboard, it will physical table. This is the order. There is one more thing in between. I'll tell you later. Okay, that will be covered later. As of now, these 3 levels is fair enough. Make sense? Everyone clear? So data will flow from PRPC environment to clipboard, clipboard to target location. Which one is permanent storage out of all these 3? Table is permanent storage.
Table.
Database.
As you open it, it will be there, otherwise it won't be there. Clipboard is also temporary. How long this data will be available on clipboard? It is there on clipboard, right? As of now. See, I'll explain you about how long and all after some time. But now, let's take it forward from here. On the clipboard, data will be maintained onto its pages. What is that? Pages. You can see here. Clipboard page. What is the page name? PY1. Work object data will get posted onto clipboard on a system created page. That is system created, system will create automatically. You are not creating. In future, we'll create our own pages. System created a page by name. What is the name? py work page. Work object will get created as an instance of work class. Work object data will be there on clipboard on work page. Work object data gets stored into table called work table generically. Okay. Page name is py work page. Table name can be any name. Okay. Work object data will be posted onto clipboard onto which page? py work page under user pages category. There are categories of pages, I'll tell you later. But as of now, work object data will get posted onto clipboard and onto py work page. It is always a number of work objects you create. Each work object will have its own py work page. See here. I'm going to open one more work object. 3005. Okay. I'm going to enter some details here. Here you go. And then submit. So two objects are open here in a tab. 3005, 3006. Go to clipboard. Here is the clipboard icon. At the very bottom of your PRPC, you have clipboard icon. If I click on that, it will open. See here, 3006. For 3006, py work page is there, data is there. And now you scroll up and 3005. Here you click 3005. For 3005, it has its own py work page. So each work object is going to have its own occupation on the clipboard. Okay, everyone clear? So py work page is the system created page which holds work object data. Work object data will be there in work table. Work object data will be there on work page. Work object gets created in the context of work class. Understand? Make sense? Everyone? Okay. See, what is clipboard now? Our technical definition of clipboard is a debugging tool. The terminology of debugging you will understand in future. We'll leave it. Functional point of view, whatever we have seen so far, let's try to understand in that point of view. Clipboard is an intermediate temporary storage place. Between. Let's go to the diagram. Where is that? Did I close it? Between what? PRPC environment and its rule base. So clipboard is an intermediate temporary storage place between PRPC environment and its rule base. Make sense? Everyone clear? That is our definition, our own definition. Technically, I'll tell you later. Okay, make sense? Clear? So clipboard, how long data will be available on clipboard? Now that is the question. See here, I'm going to close 3000. So previously I have shown you it is there or not there. 3006 is there or not there on the clipboard. I'm going to close the clipboard. Once again I'll open. Still you see 3006 is there. 3005 is there. I'm again closing. Now I'm closing the tab on PRPC. 3006 I'm closing. 5 is there. Go to clipboard. Do you have 3006? How long the data will be available on clipboard? As long as that is open in PRPC. So now if I go to close this and go to clipboard, refresh this. It is already been open. Now, do you have 3005? Do you have it? So as long as something is open in PRPC environment, it will be there on clipboard. Okay, that is the lifetime of the clipboard data. Make sense, everyone? Even after I close it, will it be there in database or not? It will be still there in the database. It will be there for sure. There is no doubt. But clipboard, it will be there only as long as it is open on PRPC environment. Everyone clear? This is just a basic idea about clipboard. Let's see more about clipboard. Clipboard maintains its data onto its pages. Clipboard maintains its data onto its pages. You see, if you go to clipboard, there are so many pages. Each page contains properties and values. For a property, a value may or may not be there. Value you assign or not, that is up to you, right? So clipboard will have pages. Pages contains properties. From this, I want to define page. What is a page? What is page? Pages. Clipboard contains pages. Page contains properties. Values may or may not be there. Based on this statement, you tell me what is page. Page is collection of properties that are there on page. Understand? Makes sense? That is just by observation. Okay. So far, what did we discuss from the beginning? So at the very beginning, we understood about how process commander identifies the exact table to store all the work objects. Okay. We understood that class and table mapping will be there. That will be defined by which rule? Database table rule. Database table rule defines the mapping between class and table. I have shown you navigation how to open that and go there. Don't change it. Just go and see and leave it. Okay. After that, we discussed about the technical definition of class group and the technical definition of work object. Work object is instance of class group. Class group is instance class for work objects. And then we were discussing about how data is going to flow from PRPC environment to backend table. That is intermediate. There will be something called clipboard. Data will go from PRPC to clipboard. It will be posted from PRPC environment. It will be further posted to table. Table is permanent storage. Clipboard is temporary storage. So as long as something is open in PRPC environment, clipboard pages will be there. If close it, it will be gone from clipboard. Now clipboard maintains its data on its pages. Clipboard contains pages. Page contains properties. Property value may or may not be there. So now based on this, page is collection of properties. We'll discuss about pages in the next class, but let's talk about the one which I have forgot. So today's session continuation of work object is completed. Okay. Now I forgot to explain you one more point here in the flow. So far from the beginning to so far till now, whatever that you have learned is all are related. Okay. This one is something different. We went to process tab and we did a scroll down, and there I have chosen PY case management default. I did not tell you the reason why I have chosen. Correct? That is what pending. I'll finish it now in next 5 minutes. Let me relax for a minute. See, I am not going to tell you about what is work party. This and all not the question. The question here is, why did I make this change of choosing PY case management default? The document which I have shared, understanding work object, this topic is there. At the very beginning itself, it is there. I forgot to explain. Now you go. It was like this, right? It was like this. I am just keeping it back what it was. Okay. And go to diagram tab. This is the flow. When I execute the flow, my expectation is that I want customer details form to be displayed. Right? I'm going to run this. What's happening now? It is showing some other screen which I am not expecting, which I am not pretty much sure about as of now. Right? I can proceed forward like this. I can click on this delete icon and click on create to proceed forward. It will show the screen which I am expecting. This is what I am expecting actually. When that other screen is coming, when the value at this PY case management default is default, PY parties is default. If it is PY case management default, now this time, are you getting that unwanted screen? As of now, it is unwanted for us. Are you getting it? Okay. So just to avoid that screen display, I have selected PY case management. So the reason for selecting PY case management default under the process tab of the flow is to avoid the display of some unwanted screen. As of now, that is new harness. As of now, that is unwanted for me. So to avoid the display of some unwanted screen at the very beginning, I have chosen the option PY case management default. Is it clear, everyone? What is the reason we have chosen? I have explained. I did not tell you what is that PY case management default, what is there inside. I did not tell you about all this. That is not the point now. Anyone has any questions about the subject what we have discussed today or yesterday? Any questions, any doubts? Meanwhile, I'll
Yes. Hello,
yes,
Harsha. Why can't this data directly stored into the table? Why this concept of clipboard?
See, your process command is going to post everything onto clipboard. See, if it is directly taking to the database, For example, as per my requirement, after entering the data, I want to further manipulate and then store.
Okay.
I want to retrieve the data. See, forward direction, PRPC to clipboard, clipboard to database, right? Backward direction, if you fetch database to clipboard, clipboard to UI. Manipulation, if you want to do, how do you manipulate the data in between while it is processing? You have to do that, taking it from clipboard on. You going forward, you'll understand that. Any other questions?
Harsha. My question is like we have seen the different environment options, right? So let's say in my development environment, I have like different development environments. So will I be able to update those 3 environment there?
That is
in the
what sandbox option is there, right? Sandbox option, you have to use it as pre-development. You may use it.
Okay, but we can't add new, right?
You can't add anything. That is system dependent. Next, clipboard. And what else I have to share? Understanding work object I have shared yesterday itself. That itself has all the details what we have discussed today at the very beginning.
Hello,
Class
Harsha?
table relation. Any other document is there?
Hello, Harsha.
Huh? Definition
Hello.
of class group and all, it is there in understanding work object document itself. Yes. What is the question? Please.
Harsha, as I created that properties beginning, you have told, okay. As I'm entering the date, but it is as I'm entering the date age, it is not taking the age. What should I do there?
It is not taking what?
Age. As I'm entering the age, I have created the properties, and after creating the properties, I have created the section. But as I'm entering the date, it is not taking. So what changes should I make there?
See, you need to choose the, whenever you create a property, if you want to enter a value of date, property type should be date only. If you want to enter date time, property type should be date time. Like this, you have to choose. In the controls also, you have date only control. I mean, like controls only one will be there based on the property type it will take. You have to choose date related control so that you will get calendar icon.
Okay. So now I can edit that one, no?
You can get it. You can edit. I'll show you. Just 1 minute. Give me 1 minute.
Okay, okay, Harsha. Okay.
Harsha, ours ID is 594.
I already
right?
shared documents to your batch.
Ours.
That is done.
Okay.
Sir, I have a doubt. In a table, record and columns are there. What we exactly called in BIGA in a technical
Same,
term?
we'll call it as columns. We'll call it as records or rows.
Records.
Table is called as table only.
Table. Okay.
Any other doubts? Any other questions? Anyone else has?
Sir, can we query the database? Hello?
Database?
Can we query the database, like select top 5 rows?
You can create. We will be doing all that in future. Just hold on. What is our application? It's not Bajaj.
LIC. LIC.
See here, you created user interface. Let me open one of the UI from here.
Also, can we delete a property?
Please mute. Property type you cannot change. Please mute. Here you see text input, right? You can change it to date time like this. Okay, if you want to change UI level, you can change.
Okay, okay.
This is possible to change.
Okay. Thank you, Harsha.
Can we delete a property? If you want to update property type, only possible solution is to delete the property and create again with the same name. There is no other go.
Okay, okay, Harsha.
And you cannot manipulate the property because in going forward,
once property is created, you can never change property type. That is impossible, and that is read only always.
But you just changed it, no? How?
In the UI we can change. In the UI you change it. UI level it will show the value that will get assigned to the property. Calendar icon like that it will show.
So Harsha, this is the property date time. So suppose we have chosen a property called date of birth. So we need only the calendar icon, right?
Yes, calendar icon will come. Date time is the control, and after you choose this control, you want only See, if you start exploring, there are so many options. See here, you can also choose the date or only time or only date time. Options are available, but only thing is we need to spend a little bit of time to explore all this. Okay, so that's it for today. Okay, because if I am going to again tell you clipboard and all, you feel like it is the huge information. So far what we have discussed.
Harsha, like I
One
also
more
have
thing
a
is, you're trying to ask some question. Someone else.
Yes. Did we cover the last two questions, that why we are using that blob data format, and which PRPC knowing about the server that we are using, means the last two questions which we discussed in earlier classes. Actually, I have a connectivity issue.
What two classes?
The last two questions that we discussed in earlier classes, why the Pega.
Questions you wanted to repeat again?
Yes.
See, the questions are how does please if you have connected from two devices, from Monday onwards it will not be possible. Okay, strictly not allowed going forward. Look at here. See, this is the system rule. When you install Pega, system rule will be there. Okay, this particular rule will have by default a value of 2. Imagine I have installed Pega on 4 different machines. After installation is done, first machine I want to make it for development. Okay, then I'll leave it as it is, system rule, to value to default development. Second machine I will log in, I'll change the value to 3. Similarly, third machine, fourth machine, I'll change the values accordingly. Okay, whenever you execute a flow, PRPC will look at this rule. What is the value? If the value chosen is 2, production level, this is called as 2, PRPC considers that the environment is, that machine is development. If the value is 5, it will consider that as production. If you are trying to execute a draft flow, process command will check this value. If it is 5, you are not allowed to execute. It will not make you it will not display the option of run in production server. Clear? This is about one of the questions which you have. What is the other question? Why Pega comes up with blob? The reason is very simple. See, without blob, if you have normal columns to store first name, last name, age, gender, all this, tomorrow if I add one more property in my UI, that is a phone number, I have to manually modify the table to add one more column in the table. If I add 5 properties, I need to modify the table to add 5 more columns. Having blob column, even if you are increasing the number of properties that you are using in any of the screens in the transaction, you don't need to bother about changing the columns in the backend, because everything will go and sit inside blob. There is no need to further extend the table. There is no need to reduce the columns when you delete the properties. That is the advantage. As you keep on adding more properties in your transaction, you don't need to make changes to the table, because everything gets stored inside blob. This is the main reason Pega comes up with a blob column, apart from security or anything else. Okay, clear everyone?
Yeah, Harsha, this blob is a permanent storage place or temporary storage?
Blob is in database and it is in table, right? Blob is in a table, table is in data. Database is permanent or temporary? In general.
Yeah, it is permanent.
Database is always permanent storage. It will be permanently available.
But when we are adding new properties, we are not going to make any changes to the database, right? I mean,
no. When you add new properties, you don't need to make any changes to the database. It will get stored into blob automatically. Okay.
Okay. So the thing is, when you want to retrieve the data, so it will come from the blob only, right?
Yes, it will come from blob. See, look at here. I'm going to go to the work object, the 3008. I'm going to, this is the old, I think I have finished 3006, right? So this one, when I am going to open this, data will come to clipboard. Which page? From where it has been retrieved? Work table, blob column. It has been retrieved from work table, blob column. Okay, makes sense. And tomorrow I am going to travel to attend one marriage function. So tomorrow there won't be any class. So you are going to get continuously 3 days holidays this week. Okay.
Okay.
Hello.
How do you spend these 3 days? Yes, please.
Shall we see the data of blob in the database table?
You cannot see. The editor is not supporting now, but in the document I have shown you by editing it. The old editor is supporting to see blob as blob. New editors are not supporting. Okay, database editors. No need to see even that. If you want to see only one possible way is clipboard. Retrieve it to clipboard and see them. Okay. And so tomorrow there is no class. And day after tomorrow and after that day also, Saturday, Sunday, there is no class. Okay. ఇప్పుడు మాట్లాడకుండా వింటున్నారే ఇందాక వరకు మాట్లాడుతున్నారు ఏం మాట్లాడుతున్నారు అంతసేపు okay so
yesterday video not accessible.
See, every day video is getting added to the drive. No need to give you access every day. One day I have given at the very beginning, you will be able to access. Yesterday video is there. Today's video also will be there. By 1 o'clock you see it will be there. మీరు 9 o'clock క్లాస్ అవగానే 9:30 షేర్ చేసి నాకు మెసేజ్ పెడితే నేనేం చేయను? అది కన్వర్ట్ అవ్వాలిగా వీడియో షుడ్ గెట్ కన్వర్టెడ్. ఇట్ విల్ టేక్ సమ్ టైం. Okay, it will take minimum 1 hour time. 1 hour video to convert, it will take around 45 minutes. After conversion we have to download, again we have to upload, we have to manage the access. It will take time. Okay, మీరు 9:34 కి మెసేజ్ పెట్టారు వీడియో లేదు.
Hello Harsha,
it will take some time to get the video added. By 1 o'clock 1:30 every day you will go there, it will be there. If it is not playing also, don't ask me. It will play not now, after half an hour, after 15 minutes it will play. But sometimes it is happening. I don't know why Google is working like this. Otherwise I will have to go to OneDrive. Okay, anyhow
I tried actually
after tomorrow and after that day Sunday there is no class. Monday India again we will resume, and going forward you will not get holidays like this.
Hello Harsha.
And now these 3 days if any one of you have, bless, while I am speaking just only your ears should work. Cinema dialogue. Okay, now wait, let me complete, let me finish. See, these 3 days, if you have anything pending, you must be finishing everything. Many of you, I know, around 25% of the resources, they still have pending tasks to do. Maybe previous 3 classes or 4 classes. Take the time, next 3 days, finish everything and be parallel to me. Okay, so these 3 days you utilize properly to understand the subject clearly. Everything that whatever I have explained in a meaningful way, in a real-time way. Okay, the same way you have to gain the knowledge. Okay, it should be crystal clear to every one of you. The connectivity is important. One is connected to other, right? We are not discussing anything independent. Everything is connected. This connectivity should be clear to every one of you by Monday, right? Utilize these 3 days to finish everything that is pending, and please be available. Yes, what is that someone was trying to ask Mahesh or someone? I don't know. Who was that?
Harsha, it was me actually. So the document links also I'm not getting, Harsha. And
please speak little bit louder. Mahesh, come closer to your mic and be little bit louder in your voice.
Yeah, the documents which you are sending, I'm not receiving by email actually.
Why you are not getting? What is your, hold on.
I'm not sure.
Say your mail ID. What is your mail ID?
It is kannoju.mahesh, KANNOJU. KANNOJU. Yes, that one.
Do you have all that in my sent box? Yes or no? It is there or not there?
Yes, it
Today's
is.
document,
I'm not sure why I'm not
maybe for yesterday. You need to see your inbox, spam, promotions, all mail. Please check everything. Okay, it will be there for sure. Okay, anyhow, I'm going to wind up for today. Thank you for joining. We'll continue on.
Harsha, one doubt. Hello.
Sir, how can we
Anyone
rename
wanted
the
to come
table?
for practice on Friday, you can come down. It will be open on
Hello.
Friday, but there will not be anyone available to assist you. But coming down here is okay. Okay, ఇక్కడ ఇంటర్నెట్ ఫెసిలిటీ ఇచ్చాం కదా అని యూట్యూబ్ లో అయ్యి ఓపెన్ చేస్తారంటే మాత్రం ఊరుకోలేదు. అర్థమైందా? సినిమాలు ప్లే చేసినట్టున్నా కానీ చెప్పండి. సమ్మన్ ఆన్లైన్.
Sir, how
Yeah,
can we
Harsha.
rename the table, sir?
Go ahead, Pranit. Proceed.
Yes, how can we rename the table, sir? I tried to rename, but I didn't find any option in database.
Please focus on whatever that we are discussing.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Research oriented, you try by yourself. You want to rename a table, you try. Somehow you struggle or go to Google. Whatever
Sure,
that
sir.
I have to teach you, I'll tell you at the appropriate time. Not everything in one single day. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Hello.
Okay. So yes, please. Uday.
So, yeah, Harsha, when we are running the flow, the work object is creating into the work table without giving any values. Like when we are not saving it, but the
The
object
moment
is,
work object gets created, it will get stored. Created means it is going to get created. It will go to clipboard, blank data, store in the table. You enter the
Okay.
data in the first screen and submit. It will update the data to the work object. Second screen and submit. Further it will update. Third screen and submit. Further it will update. The moment it is created, it gets stored.
if we
Here,
cancel,
see, you are getting first screen display means it is already created and stored. You cancel
yeah.
means only that particular task you are cancelling, not the object. One task you are cancelling. There can be a number of tasks. Cancel button is only for specific task, not for the work object.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so that's it for now. Thank you very much. Continue on Monday.